Hello. I don't know how to just say hello to a camera and have it sound natural. It's not natural. This is Cryptid. I love this game. This is going to be a how to play video on Cryptid. Cryptid is a logic and deduction puzzle game, somewhat abstract. It's got a beautiful theme and a great theme, but the theme it's not a huge role. In this game, what you are trying to do is find the single hex on the game board. Hexes look like this. The game board is maybe twice this size. You're trying to find the single hex where the cryptid, a creature whose existence is disputed or unsubstantiated, could live. You figure that out based on each player, from 3 to 5, having their own secret rule saying where the cryptid could live. It could be that it could live on 2 of the 5 possible habitats. It could be that it lives next to one of those habitats, or a couple other varieties of clues based on things on the board. You go around turn by turn asking questions to the other players. Asking question. You can only ever ask one question. You put the pawn on one of these paces and you ask whoever you want, can the cryptid live here? Based on your rule. They will answer yes or no. If they answer no, you will also have to give information out by putting a no somewhere on the board. If they answer yes, great. You got a lot of new information. You don't have to give out any information. Now it's the next person's turn. They're going to ask somebody a question. You'll go around like that until somebody feels confident enough to do the search action, which is similar. You take that pawn, but you take one of your yes tokens, you put those out on a hex, and then you say, I'm searching, and you ask the other 2 players, 3 players, or 4 players, in clockwise order, if their cryptid could live there based on their clue. If you get all yeses from the rest of the table, you've won. If at any point somebody answers no, you stop the search. You don't get to find out the answers from the rest of the players. You put out a no because you've drawn one out, and now it's the other person's turn. Once somebody has all yeses, the game's over. They've won. It says it's 30 to 50 minutes. I think it's more like 20 minutes. And then you play again and play again. So maybe that's why it's up to 30 to 50 minutes, because you play 2 to 3 games minimum every time. I love this game. A game by Hal Duncan and Ruth Vevers. Illustrated by Kwanchai Moria, who I feel like we've already done a video that illustrated. By Osprey Games. The box is one of my favorite boxes in my collections. It's vibrant, vivid, it's sticky, but not in a gross way, in like a nice way. A nice sticky. Cryptid and Cryptids is right up my alley as far as theme. The game is more abstract, probably, than theme-based. And not probably, it 100% is. But they still chose a theme that works and is perfect. I love this little, half Sasquatch, half jackalope figure. Half Sasquatch. There's not much in here, except endless good times. So I'll open it up, I'll pull out the components, and then we'll go from there. The way it works is this deck of cards is all the different games you can play. So you would pick one of these, the blacks being a harder mode, the non-blacks being an easier mode, pick a card at random, and then from here, you would set up the board as so. Numbers correlate to numbers that are on the corner of each of these boards, and you'll set it up like that. So, I chose this one, I'll set it up like this, and then we'll go from there. Now that the board is set, and it's good to confirm, I usually will go around the edges and just make sure that the edges sort of match how all this looks, because with a deduction and logic game like this, any misstep, any incorrect setup is going to ruin the game. We're now set up for a 3-player game. I've given one color here, one color here, one color here. And for me, red, of course. I'm always red. I'm always going to be red. I've set up what the game calls standing stones and abandoned shacks. Usually I would have these standing. I've got them down for the camera. You can see where those go based on the card as well, with the little colored shapes. Don't know where those go. Again, also double, triple, quadruple check those are in the right spots, because if anything is off, the game won't work. Now that we're set up physically with everything on the board, flip this over, and you've got on the left side the number of players that you're playing with, 3, 4, or 5. Because we're going with 3 here, we're going to use 3 different books. That's just going to be one of these 5 books. You can give them out randomly. They do sort of match the colors, so sometimes I'll do that, but you don't always want one person using the same book, and I'll explain why in a second. We'll look at the red book, and each of these books is just a list of clues. Possible clues. The clues are all the same, they're just in a random order so that nobody can memorize red book 61, the clue is blah. So mix up the books that you give people. Anybody that's going through those kind of lengths is, maybe they shouldn't be playing this game anyway, or playing with other people. So everybody's got their own book now. You will let each person know what clue they're looking for. So purple is going to be looking at clue 21 in their book. Teal here is going to be looking at clue 49. And I will be looking at clue 61. So I'll open it up, and my rule for where the cryptid could live is this: on desert or swamp. These 2 people are also going to have a rule. The goal of the game is to find the single hexagon on this map somewhere that works with all 3 of our rules. So I know my rule, again, on desert or swamp. So I, in my head, can already eliminate every mountain, every water, and every forest space. Because I know it has to be on either the yellow desert spots or the purple swamp spots. What I then need to try to figure out is what their clues are and work out where exactly on those spots it could live. The elusive cryptid, the Sasquatch we're looking for. Before you actually start taking turns, whoever is the first player will start 2 rounds of placing no tokens. That are these little squares. Your circles are yes tokens. These tokens are just used to tell the table whether or not the cryptid could live in a spot based on your clues. So to start the game, to get everybody some information, everybody goes around and puts out 2 no's. So for me, what I try to do in this time is I want these to go in basically the same spot, because I don't want to give too much information. If I go a forest that's 1 away from a swamp, 1 away from a mountain, 1 away from a white structure, 1 away from this red is like cougar territory, and then I go, here in water, and now I've said no to water, no to bear, no to standing stone, no to blue, like that gives so much information to the other players just with those 2 no's that I want to just try to go maybe in a corner like this and put 1 no there. I don't know what purple's rule is, so this is not going to make sense, but they're going to put theirs here. They'll put theirs here. Now I'm going to try to place it in a similar hex on the board to not give new information. Everybody probably tries their best to do the same. Then we get into the turns. From there, Super simple. Grab this little palm that denotes the cryptid. You can do two things. You can either search a space, which you generally only do at the end. And what that would be is you would take a yes, you would put it out with this pawn, and you said, I'm searching for the cryptid here. Going clockwise around the table, the other players will either put a yes or a no. If you get all yeses, the game's over, you've won. Everybody's clue lives there. That's the one spot on the board that the cryptid could live. If you get a no, let's say again going clockwise, purple puts out a no, the search stops immediately. I don't get to find out what teal had. And anytime you force somebody, or not force, but play a role in somebody putting out a no, you also have to put out a no. It's for that reason that searching is only valuable at the end, because the odds you're going to have the exact spot are unlikely, which means somebody's going to put out a no, which means you then have to put out another no. And again, the game is all about how much information you can gather from other players. The other option that you can do on your turn is you can pick somebody and you can just ask them specifically, can your cryptid live in this hex? They'll answer yes or no. Again, if it's a no, you have to put another no out. If it's a yes, nothing happens, but you've got some good information from them now. And then it just goes like that, around, with people putting out yeses and nos until somebody's got a pretty good idea of what each other's rules are. A helpful tool for that is that on the back of the player aids is all the possible clues. So if you want, you can just be looking at this while you're playing, checking things off mentally in your head, like, okay, that means theirs isn't this or this or this, and you can narrow down what possible clues each other could have. Knowing your clue, you've already got a ton of information. And usually the way it works, the beauty of this game is that everybody is close. Everybody has an idea towards the end of the game where the cryptid could live. And everybody's like, just if it comes back to me, I've got a chance. But usually somebody then will guess the amount of times you'll get two yeses and a no, and then the next person goes and they now get it. Because it ramps up in information. Once you search, you've now put out a yes, and a yes is way more information than a no. So once everybody has a couple yeses out, the game ends pretty quickly. And then it's done. And everybody sits there and they're like, your clue was this, your clue, it was either this or this, and everybody talks and everybody's in and looking and pointing at like which hex they thought it was. And everybody's sort of smiling, and then they look around the table, and then somebody says, should we go again? And all you do is clear everything off, grab a new card, shuffle these around, and you go again. It is so quick to set up. It's so quick to teach. It's so quick to understand. But it's just this thinky little puzzle that can keep you entertained. I will admit I've played this with some people for whom it just doesn't click, or it's just not their type of game. It's not the way that their brain works. So I won't say that this game is for everybody, but if you like these logic and deduction games or any sort of logic and deduction puzzle, you'll love it. It's impossible not to love it. It's so fun. It's so simple. And it's one I wish I could get to the table every day. I wish I could play this solo. I'm sure somebody's made a solo variant out there, but this is one I would love to sit down with and just pick away at. I love this game. It's so good. I have not been shy at all in my feelings about this game, but this is not a review. I'm going to try to do a proper review video. I'm going to like it. I'll tell you that right now, but I'll save. I've got a rating system coming up. Stay tuned. And I'll go a little bit deeper into what and why, expand on some of those reasons I just talked about. But if you're looking to get Cryptid, I feel like people that are watching a how to play are generally looking to buy it or are going to play it tonight or something. Just do it. Just do it. It's so good. I'm bringing this to game night tonight just in case. Thank you. Love you.